All right, everyone, in today's episode, we're going to check out the PC Engine box art collection from Bitmap Books. What's up, everyone? We've got our hands on another book by Bitmap Books. You can see the packaging here is great, just like all of the other books that we've gotten from them at this point. We've got this sealed plastic cover that goes outside to make sure that nothing gets damaged by moisture or water when it's in transit. We ended up getting this in just around a week, which is really good. This is coming from the UK and we're here in the US. So let's get this thing open and see what we got. All right, so here's the box, just like the others. The consistency is outstanding with these guys. We've got great outer package, great inside packaging with this cardboard box, and I'm sure that we're going to see the same thing that we've seen with the other books inside with those protective corners. Let's get this thing opened up. All right, here we are inside. We've got our protective corners, our wax paper cover, and the custom printed stickers to tie everything up. All right, everyone, here we go. Here's the book we picked up this time. This is the PC Engine box art collection, and this is the collector's edition. It features this nice slipcase for the book itself. As everything else that we've gotten from these guys, the quality is great. I mean, the finish on this looks very nice, all the artwork, the way that everything's done. So let's take this out and see exactly what we got here. So first we'll talk about the slipcase. It's done very well. We've got a nice thick cardboard here. All the graphics, again, are printed very nice. You've got this little collector's edition stamp here on the back. The book comes with this sleeve. We will remove the sleeve for right now. You'll notice that this one's a little different than the other books we've got because this one, the book itself, has different information on it. And then we've got this sleeve here for the collector's edition, which is pretty neat. All right, so the book itself looks pretty good. It's got this off-white, like grayish color with this red foil. This really makes it stand out and pop, especially in the light. Then around the back, we've got a little bit of information. Let's read what this says. Welcome to the third book in Bitmap Books Box Art Collection series. After delving into the libraries of the Super Famicom and the Game Boy, in this entry we explore the mystical PC Engine. We've worked with UK-based collector Lee Thacker and retro game specialist author Kurt Collada to compile and curate a look at the system's most interesting box art. The text offers some insight into not only the games themselves, but also the names behind the illustrations. Game publishers often employed well-known manga artists and animation directors so that the box art would stand alongside entries in other media. Also included are screenshots to show off how closely the game's graphics matched up to their box artwork. You know, this last statement here is very interesting to me, where it's talking about how closely the graphics match with the box art, because we all know when it comes to the really older games, when we get into like the first, second generation consoles, the box art was very well done to get your attention, and then whenever you get to the graphics themselves, just because of the technology at the time, it really couldn't match. But that's an interesting sentence here, and it'll be interesting when we get in this to see how this all looks. All right, now as we get into the book here, we'll see what we've got up front. We've got the preface. I will say the reason that I purchased this book is because, you know, I never had the TurboGrafx 16 growing up. I didn't know anyone that had that console. The area of the country that I'm from was predominantly Nintendo, Sega, or Atari. I had an original Nintendo, the NES, I had a Master System, but I was never around this. And I wish I would have been, because as I've gotten older and I've been able to play these games, or some of these games, I really have an appreciation for what this console was. It's just a shame that it didn't make as much of an impact in North America as what it had in Japan. But the reason why I wanted this book is to go through and see some of the games that I'm not familiar with and just take a look at some of this artwork, because as it's stated here, when a lot of that was brought over into North America, or the games, they changed the cover art, and things in a lot of cases do not look as good as their original counterparts in Japan. So let's take a look at what all we can expect out of this book and see what they've got. So right up front here, we've got the contents. We've got this neat image in the background here of the PC Engine and the controller. We've got a foreword by Paul Weller. So this is good here. Not only, do we have the artwork that we can go through, this has got a history of the PC Engine. All right, so here's some information, again, continued about the console itself. We've got some information about the turbo booster, etc. And what I wanted to focus on here a minute is the hue cards. I've always thought these were very neat. The Sega Master System also had these card games. They didn't have very many that they released, and then they just went over to the cartridge. But I always thought these were neat. I like the way they look, the way they feel in your hand, and the way they got the graphics on the front. So I've always thought that this was very neat, and the way that they did this. Here's some information on the CD-ROM. Here's some information in regards to the Duo, which allowed you to play the hue cards and the CD-ROM games. So here's an image of Street Fighter II, which you'll notice had the hue card that was thicker. Basically, it's a bigger game file that they were able to store on these hue cards. And again, I always like the hue cards. Here's a collector interview. That's pretty neat. Okay, so now we start with the games themselves. And I like the way they've got this laid out. They've got the artwork here. They've got some screenshots below, again, as they had stated in the beginning, to show you the comparison between gameplay and the artwork. And then it's got some information, the type of game, when it came out, and just a brief overview of what the game is. I think that's done very nicely. So we'll go through some of the games here. We got 1943, Adventure Island, Afterburner 2. Here we go, Dracula X. Well, this is a good game. Alien Crush, here we go. Now, I really like pinball games a lot. We've done some game reviews of those. And the Alien Crush and Devil's Crush games are awesome. I really enjoy those. We've got those games for the TurboGrafx 16. And I think they're really well done. They're fun games to play. You can just hop in and a moment later be playing them. And this console did a really good job on those games. This console is mainly known for the shooters, which are great, but I think these are good additions to the library of these games. There's more shooters, Armed F, Atomic Robo Kid Special. This is a cool game. I like the way that you can kind of walk and then you can fly. It combines a couple different types of games. You've got shooters, kind of platforming, run and gun style. It's pretty neat. I really enjoyed that game. There's Blood Gear. Where would the world be without Bomberman? Got to have Bomberman games. Bubblegum Crash, Bullfight. So right here we've got a very neat looking game, in my opinion. This Burai 2. I've never played this game. It looks like some type of a RPG. But the artwork itself, I think, is very well done. And obviously, that's what we're focusing on in this book, is the artwork and how that relates to the game. One thing I will say is, when we do our game reviews, one of the topics is cover art. And although that may not affect the gameplay itself, it can significantly impact your willingness to purchase the game. And that's the ideal, right? This is advertising for the game, and it's meant to grab your attention when you see it, whether you're seeing it online, on a shelf, what have you. Now, back in the day, we couldn't just go online and see what a game was like. You relied on the cover art and what was on the back of this to make your decision on whether or not you would buy this. And I think this is very well done. It's a neat looking cover. Kadash, this is a great game. So let's take a look at this game right here. So this is, in English, Super Dimension Fortress Macross. And if we just look at the way the cover art here, this is a very good looking cover. The logo and everything looks pretty cool. It stands out. It pops. You've got different colors in the logo than the background to make it stand out. Definitely a good job on this one. So I'm not familiar with this game over here, but it says this is from 1990, Namco. It's on a hue card. a parody of 60s era tokusatsu TV shows, which the name translates to Super Unrivaled Man, Idiot Man. So I have no idea what to expect out of this, but look, it looks just like an anime as far as the cover goes. So I really like the artwork here, and the gameplay images here looks pretty neat too. I don't know if the game's any good, but again, that's the idea of a book like this, is maybe to give us an idea of some games that we would want to play that we hadn't heard of before. And this piques my interest here. We've got City Hunter. This is an interesting game, and look at the artwork. I mean, it looks just like it's straight out of a high-quality anime of the time. A number of cosmic fantasy games. Here we've got Cotton. So this is a popular game. It's pretty neat. From Hudson Soft in 1993. You'll see this released on Super CD-ROM. And this is essentially you're flying around on a broom. It's a shooter type game, but this is pretty neat. And check out the artwork on this game, Crest of Wolf. Now this looks cool. They've got the skeleton in the background, these two guys. It's like a beat 'em up style game. Here we go, Ghouls and Ghosts. This is a very popular, fun game to play. And check out the artwork, man. That looks pretty cool. You got this painting in the background here. You've got your Cyclops monster and the knight with his woman. Looks pretty cool. Here we go with another popular title. This is from 1990, Darius Plus. This whole franchise, the Darius franchise, is very popular. Not only are they good games, they've got very good soundtracks as well. If you're not familiar with them, you could check them out, but these are good games. Here we go, 1990, Devil Crash. So here in the US, we call this Devil's Crush, but this is a great game. I really enjoy these. 1993, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. This game I have a lot of memories of. I never had this game myself, but my cousin did for his Super Nintendo, and we would play this game all the time. Definitely a fun game to play. Download and Download 2. Check out the artwork on these. Man, they look great. 1991, Dragon Slayer. Another game with a great soundtrack. We go 89 and 93, Dungeon Explorer and Dungeon Explorer 2. Here we go, 1988, Fantasy Zone. So this is what they would refer to as a cute 'em up, and it's a fun shooter game to play. This is, I mean, with the way the artwork and everything is here, it's fun to look at too for kids, and it's fun to play for adults. This is a good game. So 1988's Galaga 88. Now, I never played this game. I'm not sure how much better or worse it is than Galaga, but it'd be interesting to try out that game. All right, here we go from 1994 from Hudson Soft and SNK, Fatal Fury 2. Anyone that's familiar with fighting games or familiar with this franchise, Fatal Fury. And obviously these are very popular across multiple platforms, but these are fun games to play if you're into fighters. So 1995 from Hudson Soft, here's another popular game. This is Sapphire. The cover art looks awesome. Here we go, 1993, Godzilla. Where would Japan be without Godzilla? That's the real question here, right? Cool artwork. And here we go from Sega, 1990, Golden Axe. It's a very popular game. All right, here we go from Konami, 1991 and 1992, Gradius and Gradius 2. These are fun games to play, and the artwork is just as great. I mean, they did a really good job on the artwork on these games. All right, here's another one from Hudson Soft, 1989, Gunhead. Just check out the logo. It looks awesome. So does the artwork. So here we go, in 1988, another Hudson Soft game, Evil Holy Sword Necromancer. It looks like this H.R. Geiger style art in the background. Very cool looking. I don't know if the game's any good or not. Never played it, but it's an RPG game, and then artwork looks awesome. Here we go, 1990, Legion. Now, this looks pretty cool. The artwork is very well done here. 1992, Loom. So this is a pretty cool game. If you've never played it, I would highly recommend checking it out. It's a point-and-click game. And the artwork looks pretty neat too, where you've got this thread running around your hands. It's pretty cool. Here we go, another one from Hudson Soft, 1992, Ninja Gaiden. I'm sure everyone's familiar with these games. Definitely very fun to play. The artwork looks awesome. You know, one thing is interesting, and I don't know that there's a market for this. I'm sure there is. But with comic books, you have original artwork that's done, and they're typically larger format pages, 11 by 17, for example, or 11 by 14. And you get all the artwork done, and then they scan that in, and that's how they make the comic books. But they sell those original artwork pages when they're found, and they go for a good deal of money. And I just wonder what happens to the original artwork from these video games. I'm sure there's someone out there who knows and probably collects those, but I wonder how much that actually exists from this time period, because some of this artwork is just incredible, and I'm curious to know what actually happened with a lot of that art, and if it's getting traded or sold, and what the value is on some of that. Okay, here we go. A couple more games from Hudson Soft. We've got 1993's Bonk 3, Bonk's Big Adventure. Typical platforming style game, fun to play. And then we've got 1992's Air Zonk. This is a shooter game. So it's like the shooter version of Bonk, if you will, but it's Zonk. And it's a fun game to play as well. Here we go. Here's another very popular series as far as shooters go from IREM 1991. This is the R-Type Complete CD. And then 1988, we've got Hudson Soft and IREM, R-Type 1 and R-Type 2. So here's a very popular one from Konami, 1991, Salamander. So here's another pretty cool game. This is from Data East, 1991, Silent Debuggers. And you can just look at the artwork, and it looks like it's going to be some type of a science fiction style game, and it is. So I think they did a really good job on the artwork here of portraying what it is without giving you too much detail. It leaves you looking at it and wondering, oh, okay, I wonder what's going to happen, but you've got a sense of what you're getting into. Here we go. Here's another popular franchise, Splatterhouse from Namco, 1990. This is a beat-em-up style game. There's a lot of gore, horror, but it's pretty cool. I think they should make a newer version of this game that's pixelated and have it side-scrolling like the original, but really revamp it up. And I think they could do a good job of it. But here we go, Splatterhouse. So here we go from NEC and Taito from 1990 to 1993. Super Darius and Super Darius 2. The Darius games are very popular. The artwork is amazing on these. So here's another popular series, Ease. And this is 1 and 2 from Hudson and Falcom, 1989. The artwork, I mean, just looking at it, it yells out to me RPG. Maybe there could have been some things done to give it a little bit more action here, but I think it's well done. These are fun games if you're into RPGs. All right, so we just briefly ran through some of the games in here. Here's the index, and you can see there's a ton of different games that are compiled within this thing. At the end of it, we've got this credits page. This is very well done. It gives you a visual history of the artwork for a lot of those games that came out for the PC Engine. And then it also gives you some screenshots from the game. So you compare and see, oh, okay, maybe this looks interesting, or maybe this does. For me, the reality again is there's a lot of games for this console that I'm not familiar with, that I haven't played. And this allows me to kind of look through some of those games that I'm not familiar with and maybe decide to pick them up and play them. So as usual, Bitmap Books, great job on this. Really proud to have this in my collection and look forward to getting another book from you. All right, everyone, you just seen us check out PC Engine, the box art collection from Bitmap Books. Now overall, this is a very well done book. Everything from the unboxing process to the content within and the binding of the book, it's all very professional. There must have been a ton of work that went into creating something like this, and I really appreciate it. I think it's a really good value for what you're getting. Overall, all the content and everything, it means a lot to me because I've never really been around the PC Engine. I never had a TurboGrafx 16 as a kid, although I've played some of these games over the years. When I was a kid, I wasn't around this. So for me, it's like a first-time experience looking at a lot of these games and reading information about them. And it allows me to look and see something that, hey, maybe I would be interested in playing with my kids, and we can all experience for the first time. Creating memories is really what this is all about for us, and this book helps us to do that. I would say this would be a good book for you if you're interested in the PC Engine, the artwork, the history of the PC Engine, or if you know somebody that's into any kind of retro gaming or retro gaming artwork. Thanks for tuning into the video, you guys. We really appreciate it. And until next time, keep gaming.